Oh boy, and we're live again. We are back, guys. We're live. I just got the notification on my phone. That's neat. Welcome back to 86.5 The Vibe. It's your boy Jackie C.
And Shade.
It's still the two of us. Believe it or not, we're still in here.
We're still in this record.
So, we talked about a lot earlier, and we hope you all watched that video too. But in this one, we're going to do our relationship plus and our rundown. So hopefully this is a much shorter video.
Depends on how foolish the deer shade is.
Oh, the deer shade. Okay, so let's just hop right into it. So it's about promise rings. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I lost the deer shade. But the good news is I remember the gist of it. Homegirl and her boyfriend had been dating for 10 years. He takes her out to this nice restaurant. And he gets down on one knee. I don't think he got down on one knee. But he basically, basically after 10 years, he gave her a promise ring. And she said that she's so pissed off she can't look at him. What should she do?
Years. Okay, well,
she said, I still love him.
What's their situation? Like, how old are they? Also, you know what? That kind of really doesn't matter. It's been 10 years. Yes, that's like kind of ridiculous. But for the sake, how old are they?
No, I lost it. Like I said, I saw it on Reddit.
All right, so let's say that your average 10-year relationship could start anywhere between the ages of like 14, 15, where normally like that would be the earliest, to like maybe like, if generally speaking you're watching this podcast, general demographic, probably around like 20 to 25, you probably started a relationship. So you're probably nowhere older than like 25 to 35 or somewhere.
I want to say they were like 30 and 29.
Right. So let's argue that that's the case. Let's argue that it's 30. So you're right in the middle, or 29, whatever. Yeah, 10 years is too long. 10 years is too long to be given a promise ring. Like, if they have the intention of marrying you, they know what you're interested in. Like, there's no chance. It's been 10 years. Like, you guys would have had to have talked about marriage. You guys would have had to, and like, these are a lot of assumptions. Maybe you didn't, but if you didn't, that's telling you something, man. Like, that's telling you, hey, they have not wanted to talk to you about marriage in 10 years. And in 10 years that you've been together, they have not been interested in talking about that at all. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of plain as day. If this is really, not that like marriage should be the definitive factor. Like, obviously people can be together or not be together based on whatever they want. But like, if marriage is definitely the thing that you want to do, and they're not picking up on that, there are legitimate, like, there are concerns. That's a red flag. At least to me. Like, that shows that they haven't been paying attention, because there's no chance that you've been dating for 10 years and have wanted to get married and it wasn't obvious. Like, there's no way that happened.
No, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to start out by saying that I think that marriage is more important for your finances than it is for your actual relationship and love.
It's not. Yeah, exactly.
And that's the approach I take on it. So me, myself, and I want to be with someone the rest of my life, obviously, like one person. And I want to, have kids, have a family. But for me, like marriage, the wedding, all that stuff, that's not important. But it is for some folks. And I acknowledge that. I'm going to go out the way and make that happen. And I guess my point is that when they gave you a promise ring, when they gave her a promise ring, they kind of acknowledged that it was important to them, but not right now. And
they acknowledged that your feelings are important to them. They didn't acknowledge that marriage is important to them.
Well, they said that they promised to marry them one day. And I guess, what I'm going to say is, a promise ring makes a lot of sense. In 90% of situations, this ain't one of them situations, Chief.
This ain't it. Like,
no, it's unfortunate. It makes sense in 97, 98% of situations.
The real question is, do they live together or do they plan to live together? That's also a really big question.
I would assume after 10 years they live together.
Right, they probably do. But
with that being said, they asked what they should do. And so you gave a lot of your thoughts on it, but you didn't actually give them
the advice. So my advice to you: talk to your significant other, and like especially so if your intention is you want to get married, you need to tell them. Like, and so Jay, I know as a person is generally more the kind of person to say, no, once it's a no, it's a no, and just get out. And I'm definitely more like, if you can talk to them and they can understand what you're going through, there's absolutely no reason not to at least have closure. And so I'm not saying stay together. I'm not saying break up. I'm just saying at least get to a point of mutual understanding so that both of you understand what's going on.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of mad at you because I don't think I'm like that. In this situation,
you're definitely like that.
In this situation, well, I'm a huge believer in like picking up on red flags. If you see a red flag, you gotta run. I can go for yellow flags. Red flags, Now in this situation, I would say you did put in 10 years. You put in 10 years of time. And so you should probably be like, hey, why would you promise to marry me instead of just, getting down on one knee? And the crazy thing is you can be engaged. Some people are engaged for years. And so after 10 years, well, no, that's I think it's different. You can propose. Different? Well, here's my point: is you could propose for someone to marry someone. They could say yes. You could say, "Oh, my finances, right? But you're my fiance." As soon as that happens, I'm gonna, get it right. And I think to some extent that's what she wanted, because what would the real difference be between, like you said, a promise ring and an engagement, other than the fact that a promise ring is a lot less formal? And so if I were her, I wouldn't just throw the 10 years away per se. But that being said, I would really ask you, ask you to take a look at your relationship and think about it. If you really, really, want to be with that person the rest of your life. They gave you a promise ring, which means that they promised to marry you, and they want to be with you the rest of your life. And so I guess, there's a part of me that says, it was totally disrespectful, screw them, and you should leave. But then there's another part of me that really says, and like I said, for me personally, I don't think that it's the biggest deal in the world. A promise ring, an engagement ring, what is the difference? What is the difference?
It's semantics.
There's some people who have marriages that treat each other like total crap.
No, right.
There's some people who are not married, who have been together for years and treat each other incredibly. As a matter of fact, somebody we grew up with, I'm not going to use names, I went to their parents' wedding, and it's crazy because I thought their parents were married. No, they had been together. Think about it. I went to their wedding when I was 13 or 14 with somebody else who's 13 or 14, and they, produced this child together 14 years ago. Have just been together, just not really feeling it. Not really feeling like doing the whole marriage bit, blah, blah, blah. And I guess my point is marriage is a really important thing, like I said, financially to some extent. And I would argue maybe even spiritually, it's very important to be married.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say it depends on the relationship with that person so much as it does, your values and,
right.
If you have Christian values, I'm not gonna lie to you. If my parents are listening, they'd be like, "You don't think marriage is important?" They would be like, "You believe that you can have a kid?" And that's the thing. It's been so beaten down into me. I don't think I could have a kid without being married. I don't think marriage is that important, but I don't think I could have a kid without being married.
So in that regard, I completely agree. I think the institution of marriage, right? That's how you talk about that idea. The concept of legal marriage is really not important. Yeah. But that said, I think that since we're trying to give advice to a particular person who does clearly care about marriage, that's something that's within their values. You know, that's where their mind is at, and so that's something that you do care about. If it's something that's important to you, yeah, it should be a big deal.
Yeah, and so I guess, you know, my point is they asked, what do they do? And the only answer to do is to either talk, hold your feelings. We know holding your feelings in is
don't hold your feelings.
As I say, that's a stupid answer. So that's
not even an option.
Either you're going to talk or you're going to walk. And so, I mean, and like I said, I just don't think that this is a situation you walk in per se. On the flip side, I will say this much, and this is what I meant when I said you should take a good, hard look at your relationship. 10 years is a long time. And to be frank, there's a decent chance you've given them, you know, the best years of your life. Like, to some extent, you know, especially in today's society.
I mean, if I would argue 30, you've still got a lot of years.
You have a lot of good years, but I would argue when I say like the best years, like a lot of us, as we get into the workplace and we get beaten down, right? And you know, we get more tired, our personality changes. We're not working out anymore. We're not drinking as much.
I'm hoping that my life will continue to get better as I progress as an individual and as a human being.
Oh, certainly. But I'm talking about, and this once again, this even goes back to when we were talking about, you know, the 28-day rule, commitment, all that stuff with women and fertility. I'm talking about you're giving them the best years of your life physically. Shade, 10 years ago, you and I were in much better shape than we are today. Obviously, we were underage, but we were in much better shape. Like, I could run 2 miles in 13 minutes 10 years ago. I might be able to run a mile in I can run a mile in 8 something now. But the point is 8 or 9. But the point is, after that 8-minute mile, I'm pretty toasted. But I guess my point is, you know, we don't get out and see as much sun. We don't work out as much. You know, we are not drinking our water. We're not doing the things that, you know, made us feel good and look good when we were younger. And you see a lot of people, when you look around you right now, there's a lot of people who are older than they look. And that's because, why? The drugs and the drinking, they replaced water with alcohol. When we were kids, what did we drink? We drank water, right? And then if we were lucky, we'd get some soda. Now
they're older than they look, or they look older than they are.
Oh, they look older than they are. Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I misspoke because I definitely said it the wrong way. And yeah, so I would argue absolutely. I would argue, you know,
what is this magic alcohol that makes you look younger? Give it to
Where
me
can
right
I get it?
now.
No, but you know, 10 years, you're giving them, you know, like I said, those are the best years of you physically, guy or girl.
Yeah.
And in the case of a girl, you do have to worry about fertility. That's the unfortunate truth, you know, that it sounds, you know, a lot of people, you know,
something that you consider if it's something that, yeah.
If you want kids, it's a bad assumption to assume that she wants kids. That's my bad. But at the same time, if you do want kids, 10 years, this dude needs to put a ring on it and put a baby in you, because time is, like I said, time is
of the essence.
Yeah. And so literally, and so I guess that's kind of my point is right now, if I were in a relationship for 10 years, if I had been with, you know, someone since I was 16, I'm 26 now, even if I wasn't ready to, you know, be like, hey, we did just tell me how old we are. Darn. Well, hopefully not so many people see this segment. But yeah, you know, you give them, you know, the best years of your life. And that's kind of my point, is you've already given them a lot of the best years of your life. And you do have plenty more. Don't get me wrong. If you're 30, I'm not saying it's over for you. But I'm saying that you are closer to 40 than you want to admit. And 40 is a little closer to 50. And it's, you know.
Yeah, 30 is 3/4 of the way there, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, no, but we talk about all the time on this show, taking better care of yourself. People are not taking decent care of themselves.
We need to do better.
And that's everybody included. And I'm not saying that you're not. And I'm not saying, you know, if you look at Jennifer Aniston, Jennifer Aniston is 50-something. She still has another 15 great years.
She looks fantastic.
I was going to say, yeah, absolutely.
She hasn't aged in like 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, there's tons of folks who haven't, aged. They've done a great job of taking care of themselves. But yeah, in 10 years, you need to have a conversation, one, with yourself about how important it is. Because once again, a promise ring says he promises to, do right by you and marry you, all that great stuff. And if it really bothers you, you need to talk to him about it. But at the end of the day, like I said, you put 10 years in here, and it's time for you all to be sure of what the process is going forward. So either A, you have to accept the promise ring in its legitimacy, that it is like an engagement ring. It's like an engagement ring for children, though, in my humble opinion.
It's an engagement to being engaged.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's an engagement ring for like high schoolers. Like, I love you, da, 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 I promise to marry you. Or for like Christians. A lot of Christians are big into it. So you either need to accept its legitimacy, or you need to tell him, like, hey, like, you need to put a legitimate ring on it. Or you need to walk. But, like, we're getting up there in age. I'm 20 something now, and I'll be 30 soon. And I guess,
but don't ultimatum him, because that's not the way to do things.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't ultimatum people.
No.
Although
it's a fine line between ultimatum and telling someone, like, hey, like, this is what I gotta do for myself. Well, and that's the important thing, is you can't really place the importance on what it is that they do. You gotta place the importance on what you need for yourself.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think that in a lot of ways, anything can be interpreted as an ultimatum.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, if you were to go up and be like, hey, like, you gave me this promise, or you're gonna really upset me because X, Y, and Z, and I see my future like this, blah, blah, blah. That's one way to put it. But then if they say, oh, okay, well, I'm sorry you feel that way.
That's it.
I was gonna say,
that's you
have to leave. Like, I was gonna say, that's it.
Like,
and so, when you have those, like, I almost call it like a coming to Jesus moment, like for your relationship or for like anything you do. When you have that moment where the ball is in your court, and the question is, what are you gonna do? I feel like to some extent that is an ultimatum. Like, if you bring it up to him right now, I didn't like the promise ring. I thought that was crappy. I think I deserve an engagement ring. I want to be married and have kids soon. Da da da. He only has two options. He can say, I agree with you, babe. I was wrong. Da da da. I'm gonna do right by you soon. I see where you're coming from. I'm gonna do better. Or he's gonna go, me. I don't think he'll go me. I don't know what he'll do, but you do to some extent. Even if you don't ultimatum them, you are, to some extent putting them in a corner.
Absolutely. It's kind of unavoidable because there's just two options that both of you need to decide.
But so, I mean, like I said, really the tough matter of fact, so if I could give all the gentlemen in here advice right now, leave the promise rings in high school.
Yes, we're too old for that. Come on. I honestly, when you brought it up, that's why I asked, like, how old are they? Because I was like, this has got to be a high school. And then you said they've been dating for 10 years. I'm like, what were they, like 5? There's no way they're adults.
It's crazy that he had that. It's crazy to me that he had that thought. Like, totally wild. But I mean,
a promise ring? Come on,
what if he got her a promise ring? And this is what I mean when I say it's important.
Just get her jewelry, what if he like regular jewelry, and tell her that she's the most beautiful woman on the planet, and that you hope that she's in your life forever. Like, you don't need to make these.
Well, let me ask you this: what if he got
get engaged? You're done.
What if he got a promise ring because he wants to, marry her, wants to be engaged, but he doesn't have the money for the engagement ring he thinks she deserves right now? But he felt like the moment was right to strike the iron.
That's a lot of speculation. You're talking about them Mickey Mouse stories. Like, I couldn't afford to get you a Christmas present.
It's not like what is that called?
I don't remember. Yeah, something. No, I think you're right. I think you're actually right. Good for you.
Oh, that's crazy.
Maybe you're not.
But yeah, I guess my point is, and you're exactly right. It's a lot of speculation, but we can only speculate. You're going to have to do the unfortunate. It's going to be hard, but you're going to have to talk to him. I know a lot of people on Reddit were saying, leave him. You spent 10 years. That's a huge investment. I don't think I've spent anything in my life like 10 years, like doing anything in my life. I wasn't in high school for 10 years. Yeah, they say, okay, you played guitar for 16. I can't think, like, I guess I've been swimming since I was 4, but that's like, I can't think of anything like I guess guitar you've committed your life to, so it's a little bit. But I was gonna say like teaching I got into 2 years ago. Before that, say all of my like jobs, education wise, like I was at high school. Even like high schools, like I switched high schools at one point, so I wasn't even at the same. I didn't even go to the same high school for 4 years. In 10 years, like that's huge. Like think about the difference between being 16 and 26. Or think about the difference between someone 26 and someone 36. You've been through a lot together just to let it go.
Yeah.
And so that would be my best advice for you. Make sure that the things that worry you are probably less so, I feel like a lot of us are rushing to do things. Like we all want to be like, we're seeing our friends get married and have kids. We're all rushing. I think that, to some extent, I'm not going to assume. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not going to assume that that's your issue. But my point is, I think that you should talk to them, make sure that you're going to get the things that you need. And a promise ring is a promise that you will get those things. But maybe a conversation will reinforce it. That would be my best advice, is to agree with you, have a conversation. I don't think that leaving is the right answer at all. I think that the promise ring, while it is a stupid move, is a stupid move.
Really dumb guy.
I don't think that it's like a bad move, if that makes. It's not like a malevolent move. It's not like
no.
I wouldn't throw
he had decent intentions.
I mean, for me, I wouldn't throw like a red or a yellow flag. Like I would say, you can break off an idiot. You can break off an engagement just as quickly as you can break off a promise ring. It's like we said, it's for the most part the same thing. I would just work around now. You want to marry her, give her an engagement ring. Don't show up with some promise ring. Save up your money. The money you spent on the promise ring, put that towards an engagement ring. Hurry up and get it sooner. If you really want to show how much you love her, take out a loan. I don't know. So that's just me. Being said, 22 minutes. You said it would depend how foolish it was. It was
fairly foolish.
It was fairly foolish indeed. I was going to say it was shockingly foolish.
I was surprised.
He said a promise ring after 10 years. My initial thought was leave him.
Yeah, right.
I was like, he's too stupid. He's too stupid. He's too stupid to marry. You don't want your kids to inherit stupid genes.
No, for real, like that. He's an idiot.
That is absolutely wild. So I hope you get, what you are seeking, and I hope that you seek what you need to find, is what I'm going to say. And that being said, let's close this thing down the only way we know how. Let's well, it's not really baseball season yet, but I feel like it's baseball season. As a matter of fact, it's really football season. We're running the no huddle right now, especially after started out. I was going to say college football games are back. Remember the games we used to play as a kid? They haven't made one since 2014. And now, after 6 long years,
the college football video games?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just like, what are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, I'm tripping.
I did college football as a child. Like, what are you saying?
No, the college football games are back. You can start your franchise, do what you need to, and get going. But yeah, it's been 6 long years, and they're finally back.
There we go.
As I say, people
good stuff. You love to see it.
You love to see it, indeed, people. You know what else you love to see? You love to see me talking about things before they get talked about by everybody else. That's why you all come here. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I'm not going to toot our horn. But we talked about Biden. We talked about Ulysses S. Grant, right? And how he crushed the KKK and that type of thing. And Politico came with an article, I think it was yesterday or today, or this morning, talking about what Biden can learn from Ulysses S. Grant. And I was like, did we not just go over that?
Well, see, the thing is, we're posting all this stuff to YouTube, and then the FBI listens to all of it, and they go, man, guy's got some good stuff to say. We got to start putting this in the media.
Yeah. As I say, we got to start sharing it. So I did want to point that out. We were definitely ahead of our time on that. And Joe Biden could learn some things from Ulysses S. Grant. And I know Tucker Carlson made headlines the other day. And he said that Joe Biden was and the Democrats were declaring war on the American people. No, Tucker Carlson.
Did he say that?
Yes, he did.
Why did he say that?
I don't know. He's my Republican. He's one of the only Republicans. I get my news from a lot of sources, so I watch Tucker Carlson, and I have him, and I have what's that crazy guy's name?
Rush Limbaugh.
No, I don't do Rush. I've heard Rush. I had to give up
Bill
Rush.
O'Reilly.
When Rush said, "Why do I used to like Bill?" Bill O'Reilly got kicked off for all the assault allegations. No, it killed me with. I couldn't listen to Bill O'Reilly anymore after not Bill O'Reilly. Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh came out. I was like, why are liberals so obsessed with consent these days? And I was like,
he said, what?
Why are go on everybody Google it. Google Rush Limbaugh and consent. Because he's extra. Ben Shapiro is my other Republican.
Oh, Ben
guy.
Shapiro.
Yeah,
I don't like
I listen to two of them.
I'm not gonna lie. Ben Shapiro kind of bothers me.
They're my Republican folks I listen to. They have interesting views, but Tucker Carlson. I mean, some of the times Ben Shapiro is better than Tuck. Tuck is talking for Ben Shapiro is on a podcast. Tuck is like trying to get ratings, and he got some ratings last night when he said that the Democrats were declaring war on the American people. And the tough matter of facts are the people who showed up to the Capitol and stormed the Capitol are the ones who. Yeah, at this point, I'm for jailing. I was gonna say no. At this point, yeah, you should just be jailing all the people who have foolishness to say.
Yeah, how is that not inciting civil war? Well, you gotta protect yourselves because the Democrats, they're coming after you. We're at war.
I don't know, and I hope that a lot of people are smart enough to look past it, and they realize that the people who showed up to the Capitol declared war on the American people. They declared war on the American government, and they declared war on the American way of life. And so, Tuck, while you want to sit there and support them and all that,
you can't.
You're unpatriotic as all get out.
Yeah, you can't storm government officials.
Well, I'm going to continue to make him my Fox News person. I was extremely disappointed. And quite frankly, yeah, I do need to find another person to watch. I was just shocked. But I mean, your next option is like Sean Hannity. It's to the point where you don't want to get all your news sources from one place and one side and all that. But at the same time,
Sean
it's
like
the Republican side is getting hard. So does Tuck, but they say things that are absolutely foolish, that absolutely don't make any sense. Like the Democrats are declaring war on the American people. No, they're going after criminals who broke the law. They're trying to protect the Capitol so it doesn't happen again. I don't feel like they're at war with me. You know why, Tuck? Because I'm not trying to incite insurrection. And I feel like my Republican insider doesn't feel like they're at war with him. I feel like you don't feel like they're at war with you. I feel like 95% of Americans don't feel like they're at war with the American people. That's just tomfoolery. But it's headlines like that that make me say, if I was a Democrat, if I was Joe Biden, I'd probably run the Republican Party over.
Yeah.
I would say at this point, you guys had a cancer in yourself that began with the Tea Party in 2010. You primaried people out for refusing to, they primaried, I think, Dave Brad out in Virginia for refusing to impeach Obama over what was absolutely nothing. They just wanted him to be out of office. That's how the process works. And so, yeah, I would say the Republican Party, you all have a cancer developing in yourselves. You all have a cancer that at this point it's terminal with Donald Trump, but I won't let you.
You need a new party.
Yeah, I was going to say, I won't let you ruin America for the American people. And so I'd say, yeah, I'm sorry, Mitch, but I know the Mitch and Joe show, it worked well for a little while, but after everything that's happened, your party it used to be the Tea Party. Now it's the party of Trump. It's owned by one singular man. And Yeah, I would at that point, like I said, I saw that headline, and I was thinking to myself, it's going to be too hard to like when had you picked a Republican as your running mate, maybe getting a little off track, but maybe you could have. But yeah, at this point, I'd probably run them over, leave them for roadkill, and like I said, I'd make sure that they're dead. I promise you, after I passed everything I want to, I promise you wouldn't see Republicans around. It would be like with FDR, where you didn't see Republicans around for like 20 years, like 24 or something years, until you saw Republicans doing anything relevant again. Who knows? Maybe you'll see that now if Democrats play their cards right, if they don't focus on the impeachment too long. I know Mitch McConnell said he's already intending to give Trump due process. That being said, this is on 30 minutes now. Liz Cheney. So Liz Cheney won't be expelled from the House leadership, which is a huge win for establishment Republicans. She voted to impeach Trump. Trump supporters says she has to go. His supporters in Congress, and they didn't have the votes to oust her. Meaning that currently in Congress, there's more Republicans than there are Trump Republicans. Currently in the House, anyway. Currently.
At the current moment.
I can't stress that enough. At this particular point in time, when I'm saying this right now, that might not be the case a week from now.
And neither
and it's crazy because there's no election between now and next week, but there's no telling when Trump Republicans take the majority when in Congress. I mean, to be fair, think about it. There were no Trump Republicans in Congress. And then he made, Ted Cruz kiss his boot. Marco Rubio had to kiss the boot. So all these people who were talking crazy had to get down and kiss the boot. And so, I mean, I don't know. That being said, Jeff Bezos is stepping down as the Amazon CEO.
Really?
Yeah.
The richest man in the entire universe?
I think that's Elon. I don't know.
No, it's not
anymore. It's not Elon Musk anymore. I'm pretty sure.
1 second.
Okay, well, while you're looking that up, the Zelda Netflix series is currently dead. And what that means for you all and me is that we're not going to get a beautiful, beautiful idea and concept, because The Legend of Zelda, the stories are incredible. And I think...
So Jeff Bezos is 192.6 billion versus Elon Musk's 184.8 billion.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Elon Musk lost some money the other day, and that's why he's no longer. I read he was no longer the richest person in the world as of a week ago. I was gonna say, they're all,
Who's Bernard Arnault?
Bill Gates is 4.
Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg is 5.
I'm not mad at any of that. I mean, I am about the billions of dollars, yet we can't feed everybody and provide, an education and infrastructure and, all the things like that, healthcare. But hey, I'm not going to get into that too much. Zelda Netflix series is dead. I'm very, very sad about it. I know you're a Zelda fan too, and a Netflix fan.
Although I've not seen it on Netflix.
That's because it's not on Netflix. They were making it and they scrapped it.
Oh, for real?
They're not going to have the Zelda Netflix anymore. And the last point that we're going to make is Justice League is now rated R.
Justice League?
The new Justice League movie coming out is now rated R.
Honestly, I'm not upset about it.
So someone asked, communism or capitalism? Young Fly. And I will, I'll take a minute to address that. I don't know who that is. Thank you for the question. Oh, wow. Okay.
You got a lot of questions.
Say they want to, okay.
Pro-abortion, no abortion.
Communism or capitalism? Let me start with that. Both. Oh, wow. He's really hitting us. I was going to say, we might have to make that into a whole nother episode. All right, real quick. Communism and capitalism are both flawed in their entire, what's the word I'm looking for? In their entirety. You need a little bit of a mix of both. You can't have pure capitalism. You can't have, someone hiring children for $3 an hour to work whatever unsafe conditions. Like, that's like, but at the same time, the government can't control every single thing. That don't make sense neither. So there has to be a balance between both. Pro-abortion or no abortion? I'm pro-choice for other people. If I were a woman myself, I would not get an abortion. I think that, reproductive care is health care. I think that a woman has a right to her own body, as we talked
Bodily
about the 14th
autonomy,
Amendment.
definitely.
Yep. And then to go back to that, like I said, when I like amendments, pro-gun or no gun, I'm absolutely pro-gun. It takes 12 minutes for the police to get to your house. It takes exactly 12 seconds to fill somebody up with some bullet holes.
That said,
and you have an obligation to protect you, your family, your property. You have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and protecting those things. And having a gun, I would argue every American should have a gun in their home.
That said,
but that's just me.
There should be limitations on gun rights. I don't think you should be able to own massive assault weapons, nor do I believe that you should be able to stockpile so much ammo that you and your family would be able to take on a militia. I don't believe that should be allowed. There should be limitations on how much weaponry you can own and carry on your person and in your house.
Well, okay, I would agree with you on the type of weapon.
That's mostly where
I would say, like, if you want to have 25 guns, have 25 guns. Like,
yeah, if they're all a pea shooter,
buy
I don't
500.
care. Fine,
I was gonna say, get yourself a couple different kinds of shotguns.
Yeah, but I don't think you should be able to get like a minigun and mount it onto your car. Like, that's all I'm saying.
This is all propaganda bad, or can it ever be used for good?
Propaganda has been used only to direct a population. It is neither good nor bad. It in itself is neutral, but it's mostly used for not nefarious purposes, but targeted, guided purposes that service one side of an issue. I think seeing it as maybe other countries are the issue is not necessarily the right way to see it, and that's usually where we use propaganda, is to target against another system.
Yeah, I was going to, agree with that. I think that propaganda can be bad. It can be good. I mean, let me ask you this. Was the anti-Nazi propaganda in the 40s, was that bad?
Right,
we did before we did again. We need to defeat the Nazis,
thing.
blah, blah, blah. Was that bad?
It's just but then definitely one-sided.
You could argue, yep, that's one side. It's manipulating and controlling people. But in my humble opinion, there was only one side. And as far as I'm concerned, you're on the side of the Nazis and all that good stuff.
Wrong.
Yeah. So
no, absolutely. I'm just saying, for the argument,
so
one-sidedness is bad.
So propaganda is bad, yeah, in the sense it's one-sided, but it can certainly be used for good as well. Absolutely. That being said, so that's the rundown, and they just gave us an additional rundown. Thank you very much, Young Fly. We hope that you'll like and subscribe if you haven't already. That being said, Shay, do you want to play us out?
Absolutely.
All right. Y'all know how we end every episode. We just talk about how wonderful you are, how you're doing your thing, how you're going to make it. Whatever you have going on in your life, just know it's only a season. And seasons always change. The winter is cold and there's snow everywhere. But with the winter comes spring and the snow will thaw. You're beautiful people. Thank you all for listening to us. It's 86.5 The Vibe. It's your boy Shady V.
And Jackie C.
And we hope live from Shadyville that y'all have a wonderful night.
Peace.
Shady.